Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start the show. If I could just get everybody to calm down. All right, we've got the green light. Now, who are these guys again? Derek and Brian, standing tall. Active 20 to 30, we want to hear it all. Yeah, tell us your story with some local beer. Man, listen and learn, and just stay right here.
Welcome back to the Standing Tall podcast. I'm Derek, and I'm here with Brian. Our special guests today are Lauren Goff and Ryan Drury. Lauren is a former president of the Women's Club, number 1032. Ryan is a past president of the number 1 club. And they are the co-chairs for our national/international convention coming up in July. We're going to talk more about that, but first we're going to do our traditional beer tasting. So we had a special delivery to Ryan and Lauren this afternoon of the Jetronic hazy, and we're going to go with another hazy as we did with Matt. And they have the small cans, and I went ahead and got the 32 ounce. So we'll see how this interview goes in a few minutes. But let's crack the cans and pour them into our nice cold Red Bus glasses.
Well, Derek, I have to thank you. You know, you took me back in time today when you did the beer handoff. We met in a Safeway parking lot on the backside, behind a bank, and did the exchange. You took me back to the days when I was, trying to get beer back as a young one. So thank you for that.
And I got mine dropped off on my doorstep, so that was lovely.
Oh, man, service.
That is nice. We didn't walk across the street and play blackjack at Limelight, Ryan, but
no.
You your beer in the Safeway parking lot. So
no hey misters either. Is that a pretty? I know you guys are into the head. It's a good head right here. I mean, what's the grading scale here?
That looks good. Mine is a little much. I don't know what I did here.
You want to walk us through again, Brian, what the rules for tasting are?
Yeah, we'll walk you through real quick the process, but if this goes anything like it did last time, we'll get to the tasting part very quickly. So the 3 things we're supposed to do is, how does it look? How does the beer look? So obviously it's a hazy beer, so it's fairly hazy. How's yours guys looking over there?
I concur.
Through it.
Yeah.
Can you
I don't
see yours a little? Can't see through it. Can't see through it. Yeah, very. Just a very hazy beer. And a little background on this beer. This is the first hazy beer that Red Bus put into their lineup. The owner of Red Bus is not a huge fan of hazy beers, but these are very popular. So he decided to go ahead and brew one, and now it's like one of the most popular beers they have there. So anyway, Jetronic Haze. So then the next step is, how does it smell?
Smells like an IPA.
I concur.
Hoppy?
It does. I feel I would concur. I would concur.
Little citrus.
Little citrus. The hops, the hops that they use in this tend to give it a little bit of almost like a fruit kind of character to it. It's not, no fruit is added to this beer, but the hops impart a certain type of smell that some type people will associate with like a fruit kind of smell. All right, you want to get to it? Want to taste it?
Here we go.
All
Cheers.
right.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers.
Thank you for being on.
Good. I am not a huge IPA fan, and I could drink that easily.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
In college, I
like
double IPAs, and I kind of got away when I got a little older. And this one here, man, this is not bad at all. This is delicious.
It's a good summer beer. It's not super. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel light and crisp and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious. Red Bus.
All right. Red Bus. So now we have a beer to drink while we get into some conversation here. And Derek, I know, wants to talk to you guys about convention and has some questions for you as well. So, Derek, take it away.
I think we'll go ladies first. One of the things that we're talking about with this podcast and other things that we're doing is your 2030 story. So you want to give us a little background on how you came to be introduced to the 2030 Club and some of the things that made you want to join and be a part of the organization?
Yeah, sure. So I went to school in San Francisco. I'm from Sacramento originally. I grew up, and actually my parents used to go to the 2030 parties at Fairytale Town. And one of my earliest memories was being on stage at Fairytale Town singing karaoke, singing Bryan Adams, Summer of '69, at a 2030 event. My parents were never members, but they always loved to go and support and have a good time. And so I remember going to the events early on as a kid. But then I went to school in San Francisco. I did a lot of volunteering when I was in the city and really enjoyed it and just met some really great people. And then when I moved back to Sacramento, I felt like my friends were kind of doing the same things. They weren't really getting involved in the community. They were all focused on their careers or getting married or, all of that stuff, the life stuff. And I really wanted to be a part of an organization that was helping the community be better. So my parents said, check out 2030. I used to work for Robin Little. He was a past active of the men's club. And he said, you should check it out. And his brother, Chris Little, is also a member. And they both really encouraged me to check it out. And really, I just really enjoyed it. I loved the camaraderie of all the women. I felt powerful by going, doing these events. And with every little event you do or every little project, you just kind of gain confidence. And as soon as I knew it, I was running major events. And then I was president in 2014-15, now running convention. I feel like they're going to kick me out soon because I am turning 40 in a couple of years, but I'm hoping this is to be my kind of last hurrah. And I've been a member now for over 15 years, so I've really enjoyed it.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
Me.
What's that?
I said, that's me.
Nice. One of the things that we've talked about, one of our past presidents, past actives, Jeff Frost, coined the phrase, your hook. Like, what was the thing that kept you impassioned about the club and interested in kind of continuing to do more and grow? What would you say your hook was?
Yeah, so, our mission is to help underserved children in our community. And I love that part of it. I love doing our shopping sprees. I love doing our hands-on events. We put a garden at the Sacramento Children's Home. We've done, countless events that are all really great. But I think it's the leadership opportunities that really were my hook. I am a competitive person, and I really enjoy events. I do events for a living. And so I really think the opportunity to take on a project, to say, I'll do something, and then see it through is, and showing up. I think showing up is half the goal, or the not the goal of life, but how you can succeed in life. Just show up, say you're going to do something, and follow through and do it. And that has been my hook, because I kind of feed off that energy. I feed off of other people's energy. It really is it's a great outlet for me, and it's like a drug, but a healthy drug.
Right. Yeah, I think once you get in and you get involved and you get up in front of, large crowds and large groups of people that are depending on you, it's, you go all in, and it's certainly a learning experience. And, as long as you continue to get back up when you fall down, I think that's what tells the story about the kind of people that are here on this chat, and a lot of the people that are in these organizations. So
yeah, and I've made friends that I will have for a lifetime. You guys being in that company, I feel like if I ever needed anything, and I could go to any members and say, hey, I really need your help, and they're there. So it's a great network of people. So I would encourage anyone interested. We love new members, and so love for you to check us out. We meet twice a month, and at McKinley Park at the Clooney Center. So yeah.
Nice. What's your website that they can check out too?
And all the convention information can be found on sacwomen's2030.org. Please check us out. And yeah.
Okay. we'll hear that website again at the end, because we want everybody to register for convention. But before we do that, Mr. Drury, want to share your story and kind of how you came into the club. It'll be a little different, I know, but yeah, fire away, my friend.
Yeah, well, so Ryan Drury, I was really 2030 for me is a family tradition. And I say that, with love and passion behind that too. My father, John Drury, was a past president in '96 and a pretty notorious individual from his own, age group and, a character beyond characters, really kind of an old school 2030 guy at his core. And that was really my kind of genesis, if you will, with the club. It was him and his involvement. My brother and I, some of our fondest memories in 2030 were actually going to spring party setups. And it wasn't the 2013 spring party we threw, over the turn, Brian, but this was the old school days. Brian and Derek, you probably, and even Lauren, you maybe witnessed too, but in the buzz boxes, in the large warehouses, you had the roller coasters, the Ferris wheels, the steak dinner for $40, and just an amazing, almost like a city in itself that was put together over the course of a week or two for a grand party. And so for me and my brother and I, we spent many setups going out there, rollerblading around or drinking sodas till midnight with our dad and friends, and for a kid, fun stuff, of course, but. That was really my memory of 2030. So I've been a part of it since I could have been conceived at 2030 party for all I know. I'm not going to rule that up. But you fast forward, and I went to school in the Bay Area, St. Mary's College. I know there's a few Gales in the club, so I always love to rep that where I can. And came back in '09, and it's funny. I thought I knew Sacramento. I'm born and raised here like Lauren and a few of us. Thought I knew Sacramento, and joining the club was hands down one of the most influential events of my life for really making me understand Sacramento and just getting to know the city better, but also realizing how large, how diverse, and just how awesome Sacramento is, and the people that are a part of it too. I think that 2030 did it for a lot of people. It brings a lot of people together. And Lauren, like you mentioned, lifelong friends. I met some individuals in this club that that will stick with me forever. And my parents, as a testament to 2030, even more so, some of their best friends that they do amazing trips with are all 2030. So, once you get that hook, if you will, if you do it right, it can be one of the best recipes for having a great experience with friends and a bigger family in life going forward. So that's definitely the case has been for me, and as second generation, and that's kind of my story in a nutshell right there.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Now, from it being a family legacy reason for continuing to be a part, what would you say is a favorite moment or your personal hook that kind of made you fall in love further with the club and kind of what we do?
I always equate my hook to, I've told people, about 2030, and the best way I can describe it, have you all seen Black Hawk Down before? Kind of a random question, but the movie Black Hawk Down?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of it, there's a pretty, influential scene or a serious scene when Eric Bana, I forget his character name, is they're coming after this big battle, and he's eating food and gearing up to go out again. And I think it's Ethan Hawke is there, whoever the character is, says like, man, what are you doing? And he's like, listen, when I go back home, people look at me and think I'm some kind of war junkie or, that I kind of get off on this kind of stuff, but they don't understand it. They don't understand that what it is, it's the person next to you. That is why he did what he did. And for me, I kind of bring that back to 2030 is I have been through some amazing situations. You're busting your tail, working at a charitable event or at a fundraiser event, and you're there at 12 o'clock picking up tables, and there's someone next to you working just as hard for a cause that we're all aligned for. And for me, it's the person next to me who has really been my hook. And I've met some great friends I mentioned earlier, but it's really that camaraderie, which just it's electrifying. It's so gravitational, and I can't put one experience, but a collective of 10 years that have really brought me to that kind of conclusion right there.
I like that analogy. I feel like you're in the trenches sometimes, and then you look to your left and you look to your right, and you're like, oh, there's more people with me. We can do this,
Yeah, with 2030, people think it's there's so much more going on at 2030, but really it's the people next to you. I mean, that's why you're there. It's when you're down in the dumps, but you have an event coming up and you got to push through and make it happen. You do it for the people around you. It's the aspect of a team. I think I love that right there.
And not only the push through for the running an event or anything like that, but I mean, the brightest moments, they're there to celebrate with you, and the darkest days, they're there to lift you up. And no matter what, it's like you think, oh, these are my buddies or whatever, but it's your brothers and your sisters, really. I mean, it gets down to it like if you need something, those are the people that will be there. You won't have to call them. They're just going to be there. And so, no, I've seen that so many times in this club that we've all picked each other up, time and again, no matter what's going on in our lives. So it's
outside you wouldn't know it unless you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, and now we all have kids, and all of our kids are growing up together, and that's exciting too. So
Ryan has ducks, for crying out loud. I mean, Jesus.
Well, I do know that when I met Ryan, like I went to introduce him to some other guys in the club, and he already knew them because he grew up with them in 2030. And I was like, this is crazy. Like these guys knew each other when they were kids, and they're in 2030 together. It was pretty cool. But I know this isn't really about our story. It's really about your guys' story. But I do love that story that you told, Ryan, because I think what's interesting about 2030 is that it's such a aggregate of people who may not have a lot in common, but they show up together in 2030, and 2030 kind of might throw you into something with somebody that you probably may not spend a lot of time with, just because you wouldn't know how much you have in common with them. And the one thing that you do have in common is that you have a task at hand, right? You're building something, or you're organizing something, and you do make those friendships. I mean, Lauren, you talked about Ryan and Chris Little. I mean, those guys were Robin and Chris Little, they were in my wedding, So, I mean, we're all pretty well connected here. We're all very connected as a community within 2030. But
I think people join networking groups because they're trying to, succeed in their business or for whatever reason you join a networking group. But like 2030, our focus is the children and the leadership. And then networking just comes along with that. And I think that's authentic, and you really can't beat that. It's not even a main focus of ours, but it happens organically. And people have gotten new jobs through 2030. They, have met each other, gotten married, Right. So,
what's funny with that, Lauren, though? I've always found that it's the people, with the networking part of things, right? The people who show up there with 40 business cards, in their holsters, ready to go, they don't stick. It really, it's like the business and the interactions that happen. It's once you're in the club, those happen organically, but it truly is organic. I mean, the people that come in there with the intention of networking, from a business standpoint, they often are out the door after a meeting or two. It's really, it's something special. It's, you think the best things happen when you least expect it with 2030, I've always found.
Yep.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I mean, you do see men and women who join because they're interested in the fun or the camaraderie aspect of it, and philanthropy is secondary. But if you look at a lot of those people, those are also the people that find themselves showing up to all the charity events that we do, and they're always there because their buddies are there, and they're going to be there anyway. So the ultimate goal in serving the children ends up being served no matter what, for the fun of gathering or for, your reason for joining to serve the children. And
I also want to point out we have many members that aren't kid people. They're not children, is not their, strength, but they want to help, and they jump right in, and they'll do whatever they're asked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Help the kids who aren't their own that they don't want to have anyway.
That too, yeah.
So, that's awesome. So speaking of pairing folks together and doing things, Brian and I were paired together kind of through our own accord. This is this beer making extravaganza that is coming to play. We're having a brewing party on the 15th, and this was something that was floated to the club about a year ago. And as we all know, with clubs, things get busy and things get lost, and sometimes things fall under the wayside. But this was something that seemed to be a little too important to Brian and I, and we made a decision to say, hey, look, we're going to pick this up and we're going to run forward with it. And so here we are, approaching June 15th at Red Bus Brewery in Folsom from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a brewing party. And Brian, if you want to talk a little bit more about that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, so June 15th from 6 to 8:30, we're going to be brewing a beer to celebrate a very important milestone in as it relates to the 2030 Club. In 1922, the 2030 Club was founded in Sacramento, and the spirit of what 2030 represents is what we carry on today. And we've been doing it for 100 years now, serving the underserved children in our community. So we're brewing a beer to celebrate that, and we thought it'd be really cool. So we talked about it about a year ago, like Derek said. About a year ago, we got together with the board and said, let's brew a beer to celebrate our 100th anniversary. Well, at that time, we didn't know we were going to have convention lining up at the same time, but the idea is like we're going to brew this beer. We're going to use it as a way to kind of bring our club together, both our active members and our past active members, and all the members of clubs all within the region to come and celebrate this milestone. And then some of that beer will be available at convention, which Ryan and Lauren will talk about. So on the 15th, if you come out, you're going to get to be a part of this brewing process, and you can throw some hops in. You can, stir the mash. I don't know, whatever they do when you're brewing beer. But if you ever dreamed of like brewing beer on a big commercial system, we'll be doing it that night. And I talked to Eric today, and they're going to have live music there that night. There will also be a food truck, so it's going to be kind of like a party, So we're really hoping we can get a lot of members out there. So please, if you're watching and you're a past active member, please share with other past active members. That's how we're going to get people out there. If you're an active member, please come on out. But anybody in the region is welcome to come, and we are limited to just club members present and past. We really want those folks to be a part of that process. So the beer we'll brew the beer that night, and then it will be available for pickup. You can buy cans of this beer that you're going to be brewing on the 15th. You can pre-order them. There'll be a link here we'll put a link here in the podcast. But you can go ahead and pre-order that beer, and then it will be ready to be picked up on July 9th. You can pick it up on the 9th. If you can't make it that night, that's fine. You go over to Red Bus. You could pick it up on the 10th or the 11th or the 12th, or whatever it might be. If you're going to convention, there will be a delivery to convention. So if you pre-order your beer and you're going to be at convention, you can go ahead and, if you're coming into town and you're watching this, you're from another club and you're like, hey, I want some of that. We can make that happen. So you can pre-order and we'll get that delivered to you. But it's a fun. We just thought it'd be a fun way to kind of bring the club together, and it's all coming together nicely. There will be a pale ale called Standing Tall. That's what we originally had talked to Red Bus about. They're also releasing a hazy beer called Still Hazy After All These Years, which is also available in cans on the 9th of July, or the 9th of July, correct. So that's the whole story there, Derek. Did I get it all?
I think you got it all. Yeah. So
okay.
Can I add? So I don't think you guys have touched that the reason it's called Standing Tall is our motto is one stand so tall as one kneeling to a child. And that's our club motto, and I think that's a great name for the beer. So good choice.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Lauren. And on the can, we have a picture of the founder of the 2030 Club, Paul Claiborne, which I think is kind of a unique tribute for that 100th anniversary of the 2030 Club. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you for.
Years we're going to have a picture of Matt Shriver. So.
Yeah. Well, to just touch on real quick, Matt Shriver had called me a little over a year ago with this idea. I guess he and Derek were kicking around at after an event, and we're chatting about this idea. And he called me and asked me, how could we brew a beer? And at that time, what I think what Matt wanted to do was just go buy some buckets and make our own beer, which sounded fun, but it probably would have been horrible. Plus, I don't think we would have ever been able to brew in the volumes that we needed, that we were actually getting to brew working with Redbus. But it was really, this was Matt and Derek's idea. I ended up here by default, but
knowing Derek especially, just the creative mind of Derek Compton has always been a thing of brilliance, and no surprise, but all of you guys, thank you for doing this. I mean, from the committee, from the club, from past generations, like, this is awesome. I mean, just to have a beer on 2030, I mean, it's huge. It really is. I hope you all know that, how much we appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
My pleasure.
One of the beautiful things about it is it's a good way to gather and celebrate the 100 years, the organization, the National International Convention, and to be able to pull new and old members alike, past members and future members potentially, into the organization and be able to tie them together, through, us who have connections to both, and we're able to work as a bridge almost to kind of bring those two groups together. And it sometimes gets lost, where you lose some of the traditions and you lose some of the legacy because guys just don't know each other, and women don't know each other, and they just kind of, they aggregate with the folks that they know. And so what better way than having a drink than to bring everybody together and be able to talk and celebrate. And this is one of the reasons we're doing this, is so that we can have both groups watch this and learn about the club and learn about the things that we're doing and be able to come together. And Brian said Derek and Matt, but I mean, the things that go on around the fire pit at Shriver's house, 90% of them are terrible ideas, but 10% are really good stuff. And Matt did this, and he had this plan, and I'm just carrying the football with Brian, and it's I feel like it's gonna be a touchdown.
Can I add too that, like, I feel like in 2030, things that you're interested in also get morphed into the club. Like, you guys have an interest in beer. Brian does cartoons and drawings and graphic design, and you've done all of the roster covers. Like, I was just thinking about how I had foot surgery one year, and I wanted to go see the IMAX, the Alice in Wonderland movie on IMAX, and I got with Tony Servo, and I said, hey, do you want to do a fundraiser where we go to the IMAX and we can do a whole tea party and we could just blow it out at IMAX? And he's like, sure. So we put that together, like, just things that you can get interested in, just somehow, like, morph into 2030, and I think it's beautiful.
And I want to, cool. He tried to cut it out of the last episode, but Brian designed all the labels for Redbus's cans, so including the ones that you're drinking. So our local artist and author, you don't get to cut it out this time, buddy.
All right.
Guys, it's handwriting right here.
Both labels for the beers that we're releasing, he's designed. So, hard work and effort, and kudos your way, my friend.
Derek, you mentioned earlier about bringing generations together. I have a fun little anecdote real quick that kind of ties in with the convention. So last Friday, I was going to dinner with my wife and two boys, and we have two little ones. As Lauren knows, we talk with kids a lot and stuff like that. And, shepherding them to go to a restaurant is always fun. But I get this call at Friday about 6:30 or so. Pick it up. Says, is this Ryan Drury? I said, it is. Yes. He's like, this is John Drury's son. I said, well, usually I get that call. I'm like, oh, man, what happened now, or something like that. But nobody leads in. It was Carl Schubert, who was president of the #1 club in 1969. Giving a call, he read the emails, wanted to be there at the convention, wants to buy a table and bring 6 couples with him. But the fact of the matter was, gave him a call from 1969. He was president, and I was president 2017. What were you, Derek?
Spring of 15.
15. Lauren, you were?
14, 15. Yeah. We do a year in our club, but yes.
Right, yeah, beautiful year. But you look at that right there. I mean, like 1969 to now. I mean, that just shows the breadth of our organization and what this event that we're planning for right now is. Who's bringing it together?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome thing.
So speaking of this this big event, let's talk about it. So full registration ends on is it June 9th?
So June 9th, full registration ends for if you want like the full registration bag. Everyone gets a bag when they register, all the perks. So we are encouraging everyone to register as soon as possible for that full registration. We do, however, for past actives, have a Saturday only ticket. We have actually opened that up to local members as well and guests. But also on June 9th, that will go up from $165 to $185, and that is a full day of activities on Saturday.
Legacy Day, we're calling it. I think it's called or Past Active Day.
Yeah.
That's the name for them.
Yeah, so you'll get to be able to do our service project for comfort cases, and Matt did a great job on the last podcast kind of talking about that, but it is to put cases together for foster youth so that they don't have to carry a trash bag around when they're moved from homes. And so we'll have a barbecue that day. We're going to have some food trucks. We're going to be out there putting these packs together. You'll get to hear from the founder who will be joining us. It's really exciting. And then you'll get a ticket to the gala that night. And this is going to be a black tie affair, one to remember, one for the ages. And we have some fun things planned for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Matt said it best. It was 2 years in the planning and 100 years in the making, right?
Yeah, and I have to add, we are not, Ryan and I aren't the only co-chairs. We do have a team of about 6 people that we've been planning for actually almost 3 years, planning this event, and a lot of help from the national and international organizations. You know, a lot has gone into this, and a great committee. We have a great committee that's doing a lot of the work. So.
Well, I think to share those committees too. I mean, you know, from the number one side, Tyler Baslin, Ryan Little, and Lauren, do you want to share on the 1032 side?
Yeah, we have Elisa Harrop, Nell Campbell, and Hillary Greider on our side, and they're doing tremendous work to make this happen.
Really a sick in a village, and yeah, I know they aren't here tonight, but they are here in spirit, and they really are. I mean, we're all just as much as part of this process, so it's been a great, and all those who contributed too. I mean, the sub chairs, Derek, Brian, what you guys are doing as well too. I mean, there is so many people who have a finger and a hand in the pot right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool to see that kind of collaboration. I mean, that is, you know, I know that the clubs have done things together, you know, like shopping sprees and things like that, but to bring something like this to Sacramento, which is so important to so many clubs. I mean, I've been to convention before, and I know how big of a deal Sacramento is to clubs outside of Sacramento. I mean, everybody knows that this is where it started, and what a great opportunity to bring folks from all over the world to Sacramento to celebrate this. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, we are hosting, it's not just our national convention, but it's international as well. And so people from all over the world are coming. We've got a list of everyone that's attending on our website, sacwomen's2030.org. You can see all the countries that are coming and all the people. And, you know, that's another thing we haven't really talked about is the travel opportunities with 2030. And, you know, I was able to travel for work. And when I was in Panama, I joined the Panama meeting and got to meet those members. And, you know, it's turned into an international organization that has so much more reach than, you know, just our little town. So it's exciting.
Well, you know, we're celebrating 100 years, and it does, in its purest form, go back to 1922 in Sacramento, and I know there's a club up north as well too. The Active and 2030 clubs that came together, but this really is an event for the international and national committee, countries all together in clubs. So we are celebrating all of us because even though it may have started in a certain location, the ideas, the passion for what we do has transcended in such a great footprint. It's amazing. And so we're doing this for everyone is what this is 100 years is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys will be staying at what hotel? It's a nice one, right?
Yeah, we'll be at the Embassy Suites right along the waterfront, and a lot of activities planned in that area. Everything's pretty much walking distance. Hoping to do like a River Cats game on Sunday, and they're in town. That's exciting. And we have our Nations Night, which is an exciting night on Thursday. Well, so I'll start off with welcome reception. Will be at Flapstick Pub. Great place in Doco, and we're gonna play some putt as we get to know each other. And then Thursday night is our Nations Night, and this is maybe Ryan, you want to take it? The cough here.
Yeah, no problem. So Nations Night is a really special night. It's even better because the past active or legacy members in our club have spearheaded it. So we're kind of bringing a blast from the past and bringing in some old talent. I shouldn't say old. That's it's a figure of speech. We're bringing some talent in to run this event right now. Right, Wallace?
Yeah.
But making an event that really highlights the different nations who are present in 2030 and allows you to see their culture, their food. I mean, we're not going to have like a 5-course meal from each country, but we're going to have at least a sampling of what they want to bring from their countries. And then it really highlights just, all organizations together in a grand form. And the fact that the past actives from number 1 are doing this in 1032, I know it's going to be a very special night. And I know there's a lot planned for it.
That's going to be at the Railroad Museum, which is a fantastic venue.
Nice.
And it's just going to be a good party. So, yeah. And then, Friday will be our AGM. We're going to have an installation of presidents, and then culminating in Saturday, which will be our coup de grace. So,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Got to sign up. I got to sign up to by tomorrow, right? Or else, because I think tomorrow's the day, right? The night. Today's the
6th. We got 2 days. I don't know when we're posting this, but by the 9th.
Yeah.
I got to.
I mean, I love to take more, higher ticket price for you, Brian, but
I'll get on it.
Right. So
I just want to mention that we have lots of sponsorship available. We have, sponsorship levels at all different levels, but we are encouraging our past actives to sign up for our Century Club, and our Century Club is just $100. It's we'll be able to honor you, or you can honor someone else. Maybe that was a member that you want to recognize, and just a great way you can help the club and give back. So,
yeah.
Awesome.
With sponsorships too, Carl Schubert, I want to put him on blast again. And again, I had a great call last Friday before dinner. And, one thing that really perked his ear was, he asked, hey, when I go to the gala celebration, which is, as you said, the coup de grace, Lauren, he's like, I want to have a table with my friends there. I said, okay, well, we have an option for that. It's our table sponsorship. So for $250, a nominal amount of, fee, if you will, you get a bottle of wine, but you get to select who sits at your table with you. So very important. So if you want to come, you want to bring your friends and have your own private table, there is a sponsorship for that. And that way you can make sure you have a very intimate and fun night that night too.
Nice. And we will be installing not only the national, but the international presidents as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we're having the royalty coming in.
Awesome. Let's see here. I think we covered just about everything.
Yeah, and also a shout out to the international crew. I mean, I think it's been really awesome through this process, getting to know them and just having kind of a multicultural experience. And there's so many things, traditions that every organization has, and bringing that together into one event has been not only interesting but also very special too. And just can't wait to have them come to our country because in 2030 we get so caught up in our local way of life and doing things, but to have all these different clubs. It'll be a great way to also learn successful tips and tricks that other people are doing. I mean, the clubs in Latin America are really, I mean, they are moving, shaking that country down in their countries. I mean,
they're doing incredible projects and things like telethons, incredible things to raise money for hospitals. So we're excited to welcome them and then also bring some business back to Sacramento. Let's get to some bars and restaurants and help our economy out a little bit. It's been a boring couple of years, so let's get out and have some fun.
You're here.
Yeah, definitely. So as far as interested prospective members, I know Lauren, you talked about some of the women that may be interested in joining a little bit earlier. Ryan, you want to touch on anybody that may be interested in joining the men's club as well?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, for those, if you're a young individual in the Sacramento region looking to make an impact in the community, but also meet a network of people that will, potentially, influence your life and the way you do things and impact you going forward. I mean, please come out to a meeting. We have meetings. There's a calendar, I think, on our website, if I'm not mistaken. But the best thing to do is, email the podcast group. You can get in touch with myself. Our president, we're an inclusive bunch, but we love new members. That's the lifeblood of our organization is new youth and talent who want to get out there and make a difference.
Nice. And I know, Ryan, you mentioned this event being a celebration for Sacramento #1, starting in 1922 and ending up here, but it's really a celebration for every club that is 2030 here and abroad. Lauren, do you give some background on the women's club and kind of how they came to be and when they started and where you are?
Yeah, no, so we were an auxiliary membership. We used to be called the 2030ettes. We were the wives of the men's club members, and they used to get together for lunchtime meetings. I recently interviewed a woman who she was a past president in I think it was 1965, Rosie Leviach, and or Dorothy Leviach, I'm so sorry. And they used to get together and put these fashion shows together and raise money and just have a great, lunchtime activity. And, it has bloomed into our own organization. We branched off in, I think, the 90s and created our own chapter. And we do operate very differently. We have separate meetings. We are all women. You are all men. But we do a lot of things together. And so we come together. We help each other out. We're looking forward to your Thursday meeting. You guys have the mayor coming. That's really exciting. And just, it's a great camaraderie of a network. So, yeah.
I want to shout out to Lauren, too. I know with our organizations, obviously so much different, but also so much history together. But coming together to do this event has been so special. And I think learning different ways of accomplishing events. We each have very successful histories in running events in Sacramento, but to come together has been really cool too, and getting to know you and the team from the 1032 side, but also just blending our ways of doing things and making an event together has been a joy. It really has, and I want to give you kudos for that, Lauren.
Oh, thanks. I would say the same thing.
Yeah, you can definitely draw some lines in how see how hard the men in the #1 club work, but being able to see those characteristics in the women's club and how you guys have been able, you ladies have been able to really do a lot of great things, including a crab feed that is unrivaled.
Thank you for that plug. If anyone's looking for a crab feed to go to, ours is the one to go to.
The only crab feed I will ever go to. So,
it's a Swiss watch of crab feeds. I'll put it that way. Ran like a Swiss watch.
No, it's a phenomenal, and to be able to see that, gives me hope, for being a father of 2 daughters, that there will be an organization that will serve women and young women and children within the community when they're old enough to start doing. They do philanthropic work now, but to be able to see you doing the things that you all do is really nice and really promising for me in a world that doesn't offer a whole lot of promise sometimes. So thank you for that. That's awesome.
Very sweet. Thanks.
You're here. All
right. Enough with the mushy stuff. We're going to have some fun. So I've got some 1922 trivia.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's no study hall here. You're going to go for it, so you better take another drink. I think we'll start. I don't know. All right. We'll let either of you answer. You can say your name to answer, and I will tell you if you're correct or incorrect. So starting, what famous pharaoh's tomb was discovered in 1922?
Tutankhamun. Oh, am I supposed to say my name? Lauren.
Correct. You're all right. We'll give it to you.
Wow, nice job, Lauren.
What stadium opened in Southern California?
She's good.
Lauren?
Yes.
Dodger Stadium? Does it have a name?
No, Ryan, the Rose Bowl.
That's correct. Very good. Very good.
Ladies first. I had to let you go first, Lauren.
So collectively, you're 2 for 2. We'll give you those. What famous brand polar bear print debuted in France?
Ryan, the Coca-Cola polar bear.
That's correct, my friend. Good job. Good job.
Good.
All right. What famous golden star we recently lost was born?
Ryan, Betty White.
That's correct, Ryan. Good job.
Got it.
I'm trying to help y'all. Come on now. What famous
Golden Star.
Well, yeah, I went Golden Star. Come on. She was 22. What famous chewy treat was invented in Germany?
Ryan, the gummy bear.
Oh my gosh. The man is on a roll. Good job. That's it. That's all I've
It's all
got.
the Jetronic right there.
Yeah, fueled by Jetronic, Ryan.
Traveler.
Here we go.
Ryan, I'm going to sign you up for trivia.
I played with your family one time, I think, actually. I wasn't that good then. I've improved.
Speaking of trivia, if you happen by Red Bus on Monday nights, they do have a trivia. Brian is a defending champion of trivia night. I don't. What did you miss last night, or did you make it?
No, it's tonight. I'm here with
Oh.
you guys.
Oh, right. Tonight's Monday. Yep.
Pardon me.
I would have lost anyway. I was probably going to lose anyway.
I got a little.
I like to go out. I like to go out on top.
So that's all I've got for trivia. I want to thank you both for participating in the podcast, for promoting the organizations, the events that are coming up, the Centennial International and National Convention. Anybody that's interested, Lauren, you want to hit them with the website one more time?
www.sacwomen's2030.org. No dash, and we are not slash, we are dash. Just get that right now. 20-30. But it's sacwomen's20, no dash or slash, 30.org.
So SAC2030.org. All right. Sign up for convention. June 9th is the cutoff for your Saturday only ticket purchase. Otherwise, it goes up to $185.
And for a full admission as well, too. It's where the cutoff is for full admission.
And full admission. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to participate, sign up now, and get your fellow 2030 friends to sign up as well. Come on out, have a good time, and celebrate everything 2030. So with that, I will raise one more glass, and we'll say cheers and good night, y'all. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us. Here's to 100 years.
Thank you. You guys take care.
Thank you, guys. And Lauren, too.